Homage to Master Sakyatungko. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Tupten Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of Homa today, of the Eastern Lapis Lazuli realm, the medicine Tathagata, and the sunlight radiance Bodhisattva, and the moonlight radiance Bodhisattva, and the 12 medicine generals. All Dhamma masters, Dhamma educators, Dhamma teachers, Dhamma instructors, Dhamma tutors, directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good afternoon, how do you do? I would like to announce for next Sunday, May 14th at 3 p.m. Sunday, there will be Golden Mother Homa fire offering ceremony. Golden Mother Homa fire offering ceremony. We all know about the Golden Mother. This is my first route. At first, Grand Master had nothing, zero. Started out with zero. And because of the guidance of Golden Mother, we have to Buddha school now. Like the 1,000 Dhamma vessels by true deliverance, I would first invoke Golden Mother and the Tiger Head Vajra. And the third, I would invoke Amitabha Buddha of the Western realm of Atmosphere Sukhavati. And the fourth, I would invoke Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva. Therefore, the 1,000 Dhamma vessels by true deliverance, Golden Mother, is the main deity or under the control of Golden Mother. That's why she is the basis of everything. And in True Buddha School, we especially worship or enshrine the Golden Mother, the Great Sovereign. And next Sunday, there would be her or Golden Mother's Homa. So today we perform Medicine Tathagata's Homa. And we all know that in this life I went to Korea, and when I get to Jonggu, I went to the Donghua Temple. And paid homage to the tallest medicine Tathagata in Korea. And after paying homage on the way back, I had the vision of medicine Tathagata. And also all of his retinue, including the 12 medicine generals. And I saw each one of them. And after seeing them, my illness was alleviated. This is medicine Tathagata. Therefore, medicine Tathagata is incredible. He especially appeared for Grand Master to see, and it left a vivid impression forever. The Tathagata is in the east. Of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas, in the east is Akshobhya Buddha. And who is Akshobhya Buddha? He is also referred as the immovable Buddha. The immovable Buddha. And most people regard medicine Tathagata and Akshobhya Buddha as one. Which is it's the same name but different bodies. That's most Buddhist world thing. No, it's actually the same body and different names. That's what everybody says. And in the exposition of the Vimalakirti Sutra, the Jinsu Tathagata, the lay Buddhist Vimalakirti was Jinsu Tathagata. And Jinsu Tathagata came from the eastern realm of Akshobhya Buddha. Akshobhya Tathagata's place in the east. That's Jinsu Tathagata. So if medicine Tathagata is Akshobhya Buddha, then Jinsu Tathagata also came from medicine Buddha's place. In the Buddhist sutras, it's mentioned that the pure land of medicine Tathagata is the lapis lazuli realm. And that realm is extremely wonderful and beautiful. Now, in the Saha world, they have many man-made glass, colored glass, and there are many manufacturers producing them, and they're very colorful. They're actually glass, but they added something to make what they call liu li, in Chinese liu li, meaning colored glass. But the name lapis lazuli sounds like the liu li in Chinese, but they should be different though, although it sounds similar. Just hearing the name, the sparkling lapis lazuli realm sounds very beautiful. And I heard that realm is not less than Sukawati. Now let's share a joke. A couple went for fortune telling, and the fortune teller looked at the husband and said, "In the future you will go bankrupt and got a heart attack and die." And when the wife heard it, was shocked and said, "Oh, Sifu, Master, we are very loving and close each other. I cannot lose my husband. Please change his fate." And the fortune teller was silent for a while and said, "Since you love each other so much and it moved me, let me shorten my life and change his fate so that he would become very rich and therefore got a heart attack and died." And then the wife asked, "Then can you make it happen today?" That's called love, deep love. Is this a joke? Listen. After becoming the CEO of the biggest business, I don't speak casually. So I went to eat at the restaurant with the chief accountant. And after 3 bowls of rice said, "Your appetite is big." And that night, he returned his corruption and asked me to let him go, to spare him. And the thing that made me upset is the 2-year-old son that's very naughty. And I ignored him, and then he kept coming and calling, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy." And I was angry and said, "I'm not your dad." And who knew that my wife kneeled down right away and said, "I'm sorry, I know I'm wrong, I'm guilty." Is that a joke? Someone got drunk and drove and hit a glass door and only lightly injured. And the policeman came, and the drunk man said, "I only drank a glass of beer, so it wasn't my problem. I never saw a family of 3 is eating the hot pot in the middle of the street. And the policeman said, come on, let's back out your car from somebody else's car, or somebody's house. So he must be really drunk. Now we'll get on the main subject, the question and answer. A question from Taiwan, Nian Hua Ren Fu. Homage to the precious lineage root Guru, Grand Master Living Buddha Lian Shang. Thank you for your advice and answering my question 1. I would like to ask Grand Master if I wish to request a certain Dharma practice that Grand Master has not publicly transmitted before, and it is not the second level empowerment and above. Other than flying to Seattle to seek the Dharma personally, I would like to prepare appropriately, such as offerings for Grand Master, the sadhana, the offering items that the deity likes, the deity statue, as well as respect toward the Guru and the real practice. What else do I need to prepare to ensure that they will be proper, so Grand Master can transmit the Dharma accordingly? That's the first question. Wanted to ask for a certain deity yoga that Grand Master has not publicly transmitted, and he wanted to fly to Seattle to get an empowerment for this Yidam deity and ask for Dharma transmission of that deity. How should he prepare for it? And this Dharma practice has not been made public. But I don't know which deity or Yidam are you asking. Just come first and then we'll see. Because you're asking. Because things that you need to prepare, you may not be able to prepare them in Taiwan, right? So you come to here first and tell Grand Master which deity, and then Grand Master can tell you what you need to prepare. So if you request for a Dharma transmission, I still will transmit it, although it's not been made public before. Let's talk about it after you come. So you fly from Taiwan to Seattle first. The first thing that you need to prepare is an airplane ticket. The round trip air ticket. And second, the fees for your staying here, how many days. So you don't just come for a day or two, right? Maybe at least 1 week. So you need the expenses for the 1 week trip. For food, it would be free, provided by the Seattle Lechang Temple, right? Their disciple, anybody is welcome at the Seattle Temple. So, which deity you are asking for? Of course, if Grand Master knows, I will tell you. The most important thing is the round-trip tickets, the travel expenses, and also remember to bring some clothes for change. Second question, Grandmaster, in this world there are familiar love, friendship, romantic love, the bond between teacher and student. It seems that the Bodhisattva's love includes all of the above. Grandmaster, could you please tell us what is the proper way to understand love and Buddha Dharma? What is love? Let me tell you. Grandmaster has lived to be close to 80. Frankly speaking, I still don't know. I'm not sure what love is all about. Really? Some people, they already get along for a long time. In Seattle, we see each other for frequently, and they have listened to my Dharma teachings for a long time. But I always feel it's very, very light and tasteless like water, just like water. We've been knowing each other for 20, 30 years, but it's always very plain, like water, and we don't speak more than 2 or 3 sentences. So, but if it's light and plain and lasting, but sun comes fast and goes fast. So, comes and goes quickly. I forgot. So what is love? So talking about last night, several people took refuge. How many people? From 6 to 10. I don't know how many. But they all took refuge, so I give empowerment one by one. And then one of them, she looked up just with one glance, and I glanced at her, and she just took refuge last night. And with just one look. I fell into her eyes. Her eyes are very deep well. And I fell in, almost drowned. This description may be too much. And I felt electrified by her eyes. Her eyes are electrifying with just one glance. 3,000 watts. That you almost numb all over and almost forgot what I should do next. It's just a joke, okay? Just kidding. So what is love? Knowing each other for 30 years just feel very plain. But sometimes with one glance you're dead for sure. Does something like this happen? So when you have affinity, that you come to meet even from thousands of miles, but without affinity, you don't know each other even though you're in front of each other. So you're asking me what love is, and now I'm asking you. Don't ask Grand Master, because Grand Master is not very clear about it. So if you know what love is, then please come and tell me. I really don't know what love is about. So 80-year-old and almost fell into the trap. So Grandmaster's heart is not a rock, it's also not a wood. The heart is made of flesh. It can't stay.
虽然说师尊的心中的小鹿早就创始，但是吃了神仙的仙丹啊，还是被活过来。
有啲問題喎。
跟感情那一言。
So that sometimes can happen between the One.
就完蛋了。
So it is very difficult to decipher love. So just this one word, love. It's double-edged sword. It can be extremely marvelous and beautiful and sweet, but at the same time, it can be very harmful. And there are some PI investigators who came to ask me when they are handling cases from Taichung detectives, and they usually focus on two aspects. One is crimes due to money, and the other one is due to love or romance. So that's why love can also take life. So I don't know what to say. Why don't you ask? Sometimes you can ask a love expert. I'm not. I'm actually also a love expert, but I still not very clear about it. I'm still. So sometimes plain as water even after 30 years, but with one glance it's already as sweet as honey. What's going on from past life? The queen from past life. Sometimes like this. I have a disciple in Australia. One time, and she flew to Seattle quite often. And one time, there's a monastery or Sakya temple in Seattle. And one time, because the Dakjin Rinpoche passed into parinirvana, we went to the Sakya temple to pay homage. And this disciple from Australia was turning the mantra wheel just a little bit, and as she was turning the mantra wheel, like a lightning, all of a sudden saw her past life with Grand Master. And she didn't say. And then she wrote a letter to me. And when I saw the letter, oh, that's what it was. So that's love affinity from many lifetimes in the letter. So what is this? So I can answer any questions. And you ask me, what is the proper way to understand love? But I'm sorry, I wouldn't be able to answer this even if I live to be 100. See, you ask the world, what is love? That it can make people sacrifice their life and death. What is love? Something I've told this thing that happened in Japan. A pair of lovers, they are very good, they are very loving and just lovers. So the girlfriend got sick and died. And after death, the boyfriend as if marrying her, took her ash and then grind her ash into very fine powder and then put it into a bottle and place it on the breakfast table. And for breakfast, Japanese like to eat porridge, and just like a pepper powder, would put it into his porridge and ate her completely, because he wanted to be in union with her. See how much love that was. And one day, his friend came and asked him to have breakfast together. And after he's sprinkling the ash on the porridge, the friend also did it. This thing did happen, that they had such strong love for each other. So much love that he loved even her ash, that he had to take all her ash into him. So I cannot say anything about love. You can ask about other things, and I know, but about love. I don't know about love. I don't understand love. Let's share a joke.
有一个朋友啊，两个朋友，有一个朋友，
A friend.
一起出去付钱的时候，掏钱。
Every time we go out together, the friend always took a long time to get money out. And then I told the friend, why don't I get the money out for you? And the friend said, oh, that's... And then so I put my hand into his pocket and took his money out. A couple slept at midnight, and then the husband turned around and then with tears in his eyes told the wife, 3 years ago I had a car accident and laid in the hospital, and you're the one who accompanied me. And 2 years ago, the company was on fire and lost half the assets, and you will still accompany me. And a year ago, I was being beaten by mistake, and you were still next to me. And this year, I went bankrupt and lost tens of millions, and I had no way to go. and next to me it's still you. So, honey, my wife, I want to tell you. And the wife said, her eyes are also filled with tears and said, no need to say, I understand. But the husband continued, was that you who bring me bad, was that you who's always bringing me bad luck? Now we continue on the Vimalakirti Sutra, chapter 2, on skillful means. How do you pronounce this word? The Chinese is bad. The one who wrote this Chinese is bad. The person or the people who wrote the sutras, they should just use the understandable words, right? Sorry, I didn't understand this. So all the Buddhas praise the disciple, which is Vimalakirti, right? Like all the Buddhas of the 10 directions praise Vimalakirti. And the head of the Sakya clan, Si, represent the Sakram or the Lord Indra. So Indra and Brahma also respected Vimalakirti. And the kings of all the countries all respect Vimalakirti. So Indra respected Vimalakirti, Brahma respected Vimalakirti, and the kings in the world, the kings of countries big and small, all respected Vimalakirti. He lived in Vaisali to deliver sentient beings. So, as a skillful means to deliver sentient beings, he lived in the city of Vaisali. It's very easy to explain this. if you don't study it, you would not be clear about these sentences. So Lord Indra, Brahma, and the big and small kings in the world all respected him. And in order to deliver sentient beings, he lived in Vaisali. So this is talking about how he delivers sentient beings. He's very rich. He had lots of wealth, very wealthy. So a great lay practitioner who's wealthy, very wealthy. So his infinite wealth helped the poor and attracted people. So he used this method of helping people and then transform and deliver them. Because you have money, right? So you use the money to help them and then they respect you. So that they believe in Buddhism and then to walk into the Buddhist doors and walk the path. So after being helped, they believe in the Buddha Dharma. His purity in keeping the precepts attracts the offenders. Although Vimalakirti was very rich, but he kept the precepts strictly and he was very pure. Although he was a lay Buddhist, but he was abiding by the precepts even more than the ordained people and even more pure. How could he deliver and transform people who reach the precepts? That's because he's very pure. So that's also a kind of skillful means. That's what this meant. He endured and transformed angry people with endurance. Vimalakirti had attained the unborn endurance, which is the 8th ground, which is called the immovable ground. So non-arising or unborn endurance. He could endure anything and everything. So he could endure things that other people cannot endure. So when you endure, if most people you endure until you cannot bear it anymore. But for Vimalakirti, it's unborn endurance. So because he has no self and no sentient beings, so there's no need to endure because there is no self and no sentient beings. So why do you still need to endure? So that's why it's called unborn, because he was unborn. And because he or I am unborn, that's why there's no need to endure. So, but this person has no self and there's no endurance. Because there's no self, there's no endurance. And you only need to endure when there is still self. Because he already has the unborn endurance, he can use Buddha Dharma to deliver and transform the angry people. Does Grand Master get really angry and argue and fight and curse and jumping and fly into rage? Have you ever seen me do that? Of course, in giving Dharma teaching, sometimes I would say something like, "Your mother good." That's a good greeting, right? But I say it with laughing, so I rarely lose temper, because I find there's nothing to lose temper over. It's all about, that's about the same. And I regard everyone to be a bodhisattva and a Buddha in my eyes. I cannot treat sentient beings as being low or something. You cannot. Because once you have such a view, then you have discrimination and differentiation between big and small. Then you're just mundane being. But in the eyes of the Buddha, everything is the same and everyone is equal. It doesn't matter how you do, still equal. If you despise someone, you don't even like the way they walk, that you would be appalled when you see them walk. If you have a prejudice about someone or against someone, then you don't like whatever they do or whatever they say. But as Buddhists, you cannot do that. Like Grand Master Lu, in practicing Buddhism, after I know, I don't dare to look down upon any disciples. But sometimes someone or some people are truly lazy, but I don't dare to say, unless that they're blocking sentient beings, because we are helping sentient beings, not the other way around. Therefore, you cannot lose your temper. One time, most of us walk normally. Of course, there's some that don't. Like the Reverend Juru, I would imitate how he walks. That's how he walks. But for me, imitating that's going overboard. One time, I joined my palms, looking at Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha appeared in front of me. This is true, because I imitated the way he walked for everybody. And then that day, Amitabha Buddha appeared in front of me. And then all of a sudden, Amitabha turned into Reverend Juru. I knew that Amitabha Buddha was teaching me. You need to remember that all sentient beings are Buddhas, that Reverend Juru too is a Buddha. You cannot look down on his hunchback. You cannot undermine him. Even if he's the hunchback of Notre Dame, you could not look down upon him. He's also a sentient being and he's also a Buddha. So Golden Mother and Amitabha both told me, educated me, that I cannot look down on anyone. You cannot offend anybody. Doesn't matter whether what they do is correct or not, whether they're lazy or diligent. You cannot offend any of them. You have to treat them all equally, impartially. You can only teach and educate and transform them, because sentient beings are all Buddhas. That's why we say that Buddhas, sentient beings, and the minds are no different. They're the same. So he endured and transformed angry people with his endurance. Unborn endurance is where there is no self and there is no need to endure. The highest kind of realm of endurance is there is no need to endure, and you treat and regard all sentient beings equally, and you cannot despise any single being. This is the most important thing. So, and he influenced the indolent ones with this diligence. I really don't like the lazy people. I don't like people being indolent. They're very lazy. So lazy. To what extent? Let's not say who. You know yourself how lazy you are and how indolent you are. But I'm very diligent. Doesn't matter. One time I had what's that called? A bone spur. Like a bone spur on my spine around the wrist, and I had a pinched nerve, so that was painful. And Master Lien Chuan taught me a few yoga postures, and then I started practicing it, and also my family doctor taught me some of the exercises to do at home. And I'm the kind of person who once I start something, I have done it for 2 years. The same with the 1,000 Dhamma vessels, Bardo deliverance. I started from the start of the pandemic until today, and never skipping any day, any single day. I don't dare to slack off even for a day. It doesn't matter how late, I will complete it. So I'm greatly diligent. So when I had a bone spur, they taught me the yoga practices, and I followed the few postures taught by Master Lien Chuan as my family doctor. And I've been doing them for 2 years, almost 2 years. I never skipped them. Every night I would do the yoga exercises before I get on bed and go to sleep. So, and after the 1,000 Dhamma vessels Bardo deliverance, I would always do those two. So after performing those yoga, because according to the family doctor, because you are in that old age, so after having bone spurs, it would be impossible to recover, and then you would experience extreme pain, and then you have to get injection, and then when that doesn't help, you have to have surgery, and then you use some metal plate to stabilize the spines or the pelvic bones. But after performing the yoga, but because I haven't had any x-rays, so since then until now I don't have any pain whatsoever. Gone. So I'm very diligent. The family doctor told me do some of these exercises. It would be helpful so that the bone will not touch the nerves. And Lien Chuan also said he had the same experience before, and so she performed a few of the yoga postures to show me, and also Reverend Lien Xu showed a few postures. So I went home and followed them, the instructions, and then do them every day. That's my great diligence. So up to now, none of the pain ever occurred again, never recurred. So I'm not indolent, I'm not lazy. Like talking about my Dharma practice and writings, I write from Monday to Sunday. I never stop, I never skip any day, even on Sundays. And I have only a shorter time on Sundays, and I find ways and just write whatever I can. But I still write. So I do what I can to complete the books every day. I never take any day off from Monday to Sunday. Like the same with giving spiritual consultation, I never take days off. And also when we had when the COVID-19 was very bad, did I ever take a day off? Never. Even when you contracted COVID-19, and I still give you the consultation. You did not know, you did not get the test when you came. But you tested after you went home. But I did not get infected. I don't wear masks, and I didn't wear masks when I was in Taiwan, even during the ceremonies of the tens of thousands of people, like in the Taipei arena. I didn't wear any masks wherever I went in Taiwan because I wasn't qualified to contract COVID-19 because I had no time for it. And my painting assistant, Reverend Bien, got COVID how many times? 3 times. And then in my painting drawing room, only she and I. She's my painting assistant who prepared my painting equipment. And then she would tell me, let me go out and cough a few times. And then she coughed and everybody avoided her. But I was still in the room. And she got it 3 times, but not me. Maybe I was immune to it. I will not get it. So about diligence, was that a day where I did not paint? Is there a day that I don't practice? Is there a day that I don't write? Is there a day that I don't give spiritual consultation? I do it every day. I do them all every day. I don't dare to slack off because time is short. Living in this world, time is short. Really, the good time, especially as you age. When you're young, you don't know any better. You're not sensible. But the time that you can use to make good use of is very little. So if you don't appreciate, you don't cherish it, that's a waste. Because time is gold. And even gold cannot buy time. That really is like that. So the influence the indolent ones with the diligence. So how can the disciples dare to be lazy when the master is so diligent? Vimalakirti was very diligent and he delivered many lazy people. That's all for today. Let me share a joke to end it. I asked the fortune teller, I'm so beautiful, how come I haven't found true love? And the fortune teller said, you go straight and turn right. I was very excited and I said, so you're saying that I will find true love around the corner? And the fortune teller shook his head and said, over there, there's a mirror and you can look at yourself in the mirror.